All right, so we're going to open up the questions. Please raise your hand. What questions you guys have? Here in the hat. Do you have to open the door with the handles?
To get the names.
Can you Hulk smash?
To get the nanos or with the handles?
Open them in fire.
With the handle, Joel. You have to use the handle to open the door.
The handles are convenient. Everybody's going to be watching whether you use the handles or not. If you want to stick something in between here, pry it open, that's fine.
So no, you do not have to use the handles. Back here in the purple.
Talk more about the cones. I didn't hear enough about the cones.
All right, so the question is, what are the cones for? So those are construction obstacles that were left by the construction crew. Underneath each cone is an additional piece of bug food. You can tip the cones over to acquire the food, and food in a containment unit with an insect gives you a bonus. Because, once again, we don't want the insects to die, and we don't exactly know how long they're going to be there.
Food without a bug isn't worth anything. If the natural action of the food dispenser accidentally bounces food into your containment area, that's okay.
You said we're not allowed to throw the bugs, but are we allowed to throw the food?
Are you allowed to throw the food?
Are you allowed to throw the food? I don't believe you're allowed to throw anything into the containment unit, but since we're not for sure on that, that's a great question for the Q&A.
It's probably already in the Q&A. Check the past answers before you ask a new question.
Very good.
Those bugs from like the green area doesn't have to be able to go in the cabinet from.
Very good question. Do you have to enter the cabinet from your specified colored area? So does the robot from the green have to access it through the green?
So, not specifically, but this is a cooperative project, right? Everybody's trying to recover the bugs. It is not supposed to be a BattleBot game, right? So if somebody else is working in this area, you're not supposed to go push them out of the way so you can do it, right? But if they're over somewhere else and you have a block in your area, it's more convenient for you to come this way, that's okay.
So check the Q&A on this, but in your area you have preference. So if blue is accessing blue, you have preference. If green comes over and touches you, they have a 20-second penalty, 30-second penalty. There's a time penalty, right? So interference with other robots will receive you a penalty. Continuing to do that will disqualify you from that round. Over here, yours.
Can you go and get pieces from other teams that's scored on your side?
Can you score pieces from other parts of the field, other teams' pieces in your area?
Right. The game pieces are not color specific, right? The red ribbons are on all the outside flies to distinguish them as lesser point values than the black flies on the inside. But there are no colored game pieces, right? So if their game pieces are lying out where you can get at them without getting in their way, you can have their game pieces. You cannot put your game pieces in their containment area. You may not take their scored game pieces out of their containment area.
Parrish, do you have a question over here? Barry?
Right. Is there a limit on the number of cockroaches which you can get?
Is there a limit on the number of game pieces you may collect? Specifically the cockroaches and the nanos.
No, there's not a quota of game pieces for each team. You can have all that you can gather without interfering with other teams. If you have a very effective trap and 10 of them go in there and nobody else is even trying for cockroaches, that's fine.
Someone over here. There's a question. Oh, your video. Okay. Here?
Alright, so when I was watching you demoing your robot, those things there, the piled up PVC pipes, they were kind of movable. Did you have to move them out of that area? That
They're screwed down from the, I have screws in the end so they don't roll away. To tear it out would be damaging the field.
Alright.
So they're difficult to roll over, but they're a field obstruction that stays in place.
Okay, so they're gonna stay.
They'll stay there.
Okay.
Are the bugs replenishable? Are the bugs replenishable? So the bugs have little batteries in them that will wear down over time. We have spare sets of bugs.
The other bugs with golf ball or white styrofoam.
Styrofoam balls, are they replenishable now? For one game, the field is set up with all the game pieces in place. And they're not replaced during the game, right? You have this many game pieces on the field, you can score them. We'll count the score, then we'll put them all back for the next match.
If two robots bump arms inside the cabinet, is that a kind of like a penalty of one of them?
If robots bump arms inside the cabinet, is that a penalty? That's a very good question. I think you'll have to take it to the Q&A on that one. It's probably already been asked. Your friend?
If we scored cockroaches upside down or on their side, will that not count? I think that already went right.
Yeah, they flip it.
So the question is, if the cockroach is upside down,
In the bin.
playing dead, does that count in the containment area?
So they generally flip themselves over if their battery's still going. But if the battery wears out or if there's some problem with it, as long as it's supported by the floor of the containment area, it's okay.
All right, so the answer there, as long as it's supported by the floor, it scores. Can you have more than one game piece on your robot at one time? Yes. Yes, we can.
How heavy are the termites?
That's in the specification of the rules.
They have 1 pound of kidney beans inside, plus the weight of the Tivex sleeve and the end cap, so a little more than 1 pound. This robot, for instance, with this gearing setup, cannot pick up a termite from the ground. It's too heavy.
Yes, sir.
I noticed on your sheet metal aluminum boxes or containers there, can you eliminate some of that, like cut a hole in there to eliminate some of the weight? They're furnished for you. With extra bit?
So for this year, so you're talking about specifically the motor mount system. For this year, a piece of flat aluminum that has been pre-stamped is included in your kit, and it is required to be used for your motor mount system, along with the specified hex head or Allen head screws. Okay? Joel has more information at the actual returnable kit delivery table out here.
But other than bending it and screwing into it, you cannot do all it's already.
You can do whatever you want to it other than that. It just has to be, your motor has to be mounted to it with the screws we provide. He's got several examples of ways of doing things with it.
Okay.
It is a consumable kit item, so you can do other things with it.
Thank you.
Yes. Can you say that louder, please? How high is the food button? The food button is as is displayed right here.
There's a drawing set. You can get your tape measure out here and measure it if you want, but there's a set of drawings available on the BRI website that has all the answers here. Tolerances vary somewhat.
Okay, any more questions?
Over here.
Oh, there you go.
There seems to be kind of sort of a variable in the height of the hanging flies. Is there a specification of like a max and a min height on those?
In terms of the ones on the inside or the outside?
Outside.
On the outside? No. They hang over, they're variable. You have to account for variability where they are. They also, there's a Q&A specifically about that, so make sure you check that. The Q&A is the final set of rules on top of the specific rules. So what's there is actually the official set. Don't just go by everything that Joel and I said.
The fly wires are also an eye hazard, so when you're picking up the robot, be careful not to poke your eye out.
All right, folks, keep it down a little bit more. We're almost about to wrap up with this, so just a couple more minutes. All right, any more questions? All right, what do you think?